Hi everybody, welcome to our last week, week 6 of our beginner yoga series. So I'm really excited for today's class because we're going to be bringing a little more energy today. It's really important to have both, like we talked about the yin and the yang. So today we're focusing on a little bit more of the yang. Now that maybe you feel a little more connected to your body, you've learned a little bit about breath work, learned how to feel into your body with some of these slower postures. We'll move into some of the typical things you'll see in a yoga class and you'll hear about, but we're just breaking them down a little bit today. So it's not a full class. We're just going to be talking and kind of moving into these postures so that you can just kind of get an initial feeling so that they're a little bit familiar. That way, if you do try out a different class, video, things like that, you know that you felt this before in your body and you know how to modify it a little bit for you. So let's start with just a couple of breaths. Left hand on your heart, right hand on your belly. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. And again, deep breath in. Sigh it out. This time, breathe into your belly. So feel your right hand move. And then you breathe into your left hand, so you're moving your chest and your belly. And the third breath, you want to feel your collarbones lift. Feel all three things move. And then return to your normal breath. That's just a very, very simple way to create some more space, some more energy and heat if you're thinking about flowing and moving a little bit more. Now roll onto your knees and your hands moving into your tabletop position. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Both shoulder distance, hip distance apart. Inhale, cow, look up. Exhale, cat, round through your spine. And again, inhale up, exhale round. One more time. Tuck your toes, lift up to your downward facing dog. Walk your dog, meaning pedal your feet. Get the crinkles out. Inhale your right leg up. Keep your hips square, so not tilted out like that. You want to keep them square, so if that means your leg is down here to do that, or maybe it's higher. And then you step your right leg through. Now remember, there is nothing wrong with this. Walk your foot up. Just so as long as you get to be right here. And like we did before, feel your feet first. This is the most important thing with starting these postures, is to feel your feet. Build each posture one step, no pun intended, one step at a time. So feel your feet beneath you before you stand up. Here's your crescent lunge. Maybe your hands come to your hips. You sink into your front knee. Your back leg is nice and straight behind you. Hands come up. Shoulders drop. And you sink. Come a little more forward so that your heel in the back lifts. So you can feel your weight beneath you. Step up to the top of the mat. Hands to heart center. Reach up. Forward fold. Like we did before, take your forward fold, feet hip distance apart, and you want to lean into the balls of your feet, coming a little more forward. We tend to jut our hips back like this, and that's not a forward fold, that's just moving it into your hips. Hips come forward, You should feel it up here. If you need to, have your knees bent so that you're resting over your knees like this. Maybe you relax your neck. Maybe if this is really intense, you can always use your prop. And release. Halfway lift. Back is straight. That is the most important piece with a halfway lift. Nice straight back, shoulders back. This is not halfway lift. You engage your back muscles to lift you up and fold. Right foot steps back. Left foot steps back. Downward facing dog. Again, remembering your hip bones, they're right here. They're pointing up towards the ceiling, so someone's pulling up through there. And your shoulders roll around and down. Left leg goes up towards the ceiling. Nice and straight hips. Step it through. Feel your feet before you come up. Hands to hips maybe. Roll a little more forward, bend into your front leg. Hands come up. Shoulders down. Hips are nice and square forward, so you think of little headlights pointing forward. Sometimes it's nice to do this in front of a mirror because then you can actually visualize that and see the little headlights when they turn. Sink into your hip. Step up. Hands come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reach up. Forward fold. Find another fold that feels good. Maybe it's the same way. Maybe you cross your hands at your elbows and you fold. And step back. Drop your knees. Take knees wide. Feet together. Just take a moment in child's pose before we move on. We'll be doing a few postures, so we have warrior one, warrior two, tree, half moon, chair, eagle, and triangle to try out. These are some of the most common postures you might see, and we'll just break each one down. So when you're ready, push up, and actually just come up to a standing position, and we'll just break them down from here. So left leg forward, right leg back. Just come into a crescent lunge here. So crescent lunge, all 10 toes are facing forward. Front knee is bent, back leg is straight. Warrior one, you drop your right foot 45-degree angle, but you keep those headlights, just like in the crescent lunge, forward. All that's happened is that foot just opened up. Nothing else shifted, so you should be able to just tilt that foot and nothing else moves. You keep the bend in your front leg and your hands are up. So shoulders are on top of your hips in line facing forward. There's your warrior one. So sometimes you just have to practice shifting that hip. Warrior one. Warrior two, you're going to take your back foot and open it up all the way to the side. That's all that happens. Your front leg needs to stay bent. This time you are opening your hip. So as your foot swings all the way open, your hip does the exact same thing. It swings open. So now we have hips like this. Looking forward at your front toe. You should be able to see your two biggest toes with your knee bent. So this is common where we tend to bend our knee inward. You want to open it up. So sometimes pressing open with your hand can help that knee open up. Hips are open. Sit into your bum. Left hand comes forward. Right hand goes straight behind you in a straight line. So you look down the front of your fingertips. There's your warrior two. There's a reason these poses are called warriors, because they're powerful. They create energy and they require a lot of energy. So come out of it as often as you need and then come back in. Feel that warrior. Then moving into triangle, you straighten your front leg. Hips are still in this angle, and what you're going to do is you tilt your hips backwards. Arms are out front. You tilt forward with your body, so this moves in one line until you feel it connect. That's when you're going to drop your hand down. Right hand comes up so your shoulders stack. So maybe you're down here. Maybe you're up here. This is the same posture. Triangle. Take a step back. Maybe shimmy and shake. Let that side go. I'm going to take a moment. This is also a balancing posture. It's called Tadasana, mountain pose. So actually open up your palms to face the front. Fingers wide. If you ever feel like you need power, you can also take this position. Ground both your feet out into your mat. Feel the power in your hands. Your chest is up. Let's move into the other side. So crescent lunge first, which we've done a few times. 10 toes forward, headlights forward, front knee bent. Back leg straight, arms up. 45-degree angle with your left foot, keeping your hips forward. And so if it opens as you do that, then roll back. Right leg is bent, arms up. Shoulders over top of your hips. And give your pelvis just a little bit of a tuck. Sometimes we tend to roll forward like this. Want your back straight. And then open up your left foot from this side. So 90-degree angle, all the way out. Front leg is bent, looking for your two big toes. Your hips are open. You can see where mine are. Right arm forward. Left arm back, drop your shoulders. And sometimes this happens. You want to bring yourself right back to the center so that you're sitting, there's a long line this way and there's a line going like this. There's your warrior two. Triangle. Straighten your front leg. Keep this leg where it is, the hips. Arms are here. Jet your bum back, your hips back as you tilt forward. And again, this requires some hamstring flexibility. You might feel it there, and maybe that's your sticking point that stops you. Maybe it's your back, maybe it's your hips. Whatever stops you, because curving into your spine is not triangle. Your spine has to stay straight. And then your right arm can come down inside of your leg, so it can land wherever along the inside of your leg. Maybe it's your ankle. Your left arm goes up and your shoulders stack. You can roll your left shoulder back, opening even more. Come back up. Take Tadasana, your mountain pose. A few deep breaths. From here we'll move into tree. So a tree, you don't want to have a lot of padding underneath you. So if you have a nice hard floor, that's great. Feel your right leg ground underneath you first. And we'll start tree with, go onto your left toes and you just gently open your hip. You're just opening it like this without shifting your hip bones. See how my hip bones aren't tilting? That's what you want in tree. And so maybe this is it. Because maybe as soon as you move your left leg up, your hip bone goes up too. So the whole idea is that your hip bones, those lights, stay head forward. So maybe you come to your shin, maybe you come to your thigh, avoiding your knee. Hip bones are forward, hands to heart center. The key with these balancing postures is that you're thinking of a pole in between you. So whether you're in crescent lunge, you're in tree, half moon, think of a pole in the middle of your body and you're always squeezing the two sides of your body into it. Not actually squeezing them, like rounding, just you think of energetically the two sides of your body squeezing in on that pole. And in tree, you also have a pole coming from the top of your head down through the bottom. And it can also help to find a little spot on the wall maybe. That's your drishti, your focal point, and you look at it. So it doesn't matter if this is happening, you're not letting yourself let go of that spot. Release, knee comes forward, let go. We'll move into the other side. Left leg grounds down. Right toes are on your mat, and then you just gently open your hip. So feeling for, we often, when we do this, and see I just did it, sunk into my left hip as I did it. So I'm kind of curved. You want to stand up nice and tall as you do that. So here's my hip opening. Now I can move my leg, maybe just to here, maybe a little bit higher, as long as I'm not sinking into that hip. Nice and square, hands to heart center, or maybe you grow branches. Again, as you grow branches, it's a common tendency to want to sink, so don't sink, stay nice and tall. If you fall out, come right back to it. The only way to get better in these balancing postures is to come right back into it. Start where you left off. Knee comes forward and release. Again, shimmy, shake, let it go. Maybe you need a drink of water. So we only have a couple more left. We're going to start with chair because chair builds into eagle. So in chair, traditionally taught with the big toes together with a bit of space in the heels, bending into it, but if your feet are slightly apart, that's okay as well. The idea with chair, bring your arms up and sit. And then you want to sit with more weight towards your heels so you can actually lift your toes up. And again, don't tilt your bum out. Keep it tucked underneath a little bit. So if that's here, this is your chair, and your arms are up, great. Maybe you can sit a little lower. And it doesn't matter where your arms land. So maybe they're straight forward, maybe they're up, because that depends more on your shoulders. The placement of your shoulders, not necessarily mobility. Chair requires a lot of focus. It's a really helpful posture. Takes a lot of energy. And a good way to release it is actually to do a forward fold release. And then you roll up. And we'll move into it again. Sit back, arms up, Drop a little lower. Maybe you can. Just try it out, see. How low can you go? Without rounding through your spine. Try to keep your spine straight. Chest up. Forward fold. Round back up. And now we'll move into eagle. So just breaking eagle down a little bit. There's two pieces. There's the arm and the leg. When you get into the leg piece, this is eagle, just with the top piece cropped or crossed. Eagle legs can also be your leg is completely wrapped around a couple of times. So your leg is wrapped around the thighs and your foot is kind of tucked in behind your calf. So again, start with the left side this time. So ground your left foot in to your mat. First, feel that. And your hands up. Take your right arm underneath your left here and reach around. So maybe you can clasp your hands. Maybe you grab your wrist. If this is not accessible at all, if you get to here, this is just as good, reaching for both your shoulders. Because eagle requires a lot of shoulder mobility and openness. So right arm underneath and around, or maybe here. And then you want to feel into your foot again. Make sure it's still grounded. Engage your core. Lift your right leg. Cross it over. So maybe it crosses all the way around. Maybe it doesn't. And then you sit into that chair we created before, but with just the one leg. Shoulders are over top of your hips. Lift your elbows up a little bit. And with eagle, you're kind of looking through your arms forward towards your drishti. So keep your eyes up, looking forward. And release, your right foot plants, both arms come up. Let's move on to the other side. Right leg plants. Arms up, left arm underneath right. And again, maybe you just cross at the shoulders. Elbows up. Left leg crosses over right, wraps all the way around. And then you sit into your seat. Shoulders come over the hips. Elbows lift up. So eagle is another one where it's really important to think of that pole. You literally have a pole coming through the middle of your body and you're wrapping around it. Eagle as well, if you're shimmying, you're shaking, you fall out, come right back in, go right back to where you were before. And this is eagle. If you're just crossed here and you can't get sitting into a seat, just go where you're at. Arms up, release your left leg, hands to heart center. The biggest thing with eagle is that it's a compression posture. So it's kind of like our legs up the wall in a way. You're constricting some blood flow, and then when you let go, the blood rushes through everything in your body. So it's really, really healing. Last posture is called half moon. So for this posture, I encourage you to have a prop with you. If you have a block, that's great. Kleenex box can work really well as two, or a book. Just something to become an extension of your limbs. So bring the block fairly close in front of your right foot. And then what you're going to do first is just lift your left leg up. You're going to keep your hips square and come down to your block. Maybe you come down to the floor. Then you'll open up your left hip. So see, just like with Warrior 2, how we have one hip forward, one hip to the side. You're going to stack your left hip over top of your right. Flex your left toes, engage your left leg. Then if you feel stable, your hand can come to your hip. maybe up to the sky. And you can rotate even more, stacking your left shoulder over your right. Engage your core, squeeze everything. Maybe lift your leg a little higher. Hands come down. Left leg meets right. Take a halfway lift. Fold. And release it. We'll move into the other side. This time we'll do it with elbow prop. So come down to the floor or your prop. Lift your right leg. Nice and square at first to start. And you bring your weight a little bit more into the ball of your foot. Then you open up your right hip. Stacking your right hip over your left. Flex your right toes. Maybe your hand can come to your hip. Maybe the hand comes to the sky. Stack your right shoulder over your left. And release. Halfway lift. Fold. Reach up. And start center. Thank you so much for sharing in your journey these last few weeks, for being willing to learn a few new things, for opening up. Namaste.